Did you see any alien there up in space?
I see a whole lot of aliens on planet Earth. but, but having said that, I do believe that intelligent life does exist. I would say that I've always been captivated by science fiction. Some excellent movies which have come out on this subject, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and I really look forward to making contact with some other intelligent life form.
To learn about Earth, you need to go out in space is a general term that people say. So do you think these human explorations, our Gaganauts coming up in these new missions, is it very important for the country? Because this is a question that everybody has got in mind. Do you think we need to send man to space?
Let's talk of the space program to begin with. We must understand that our country had no business to be in this game to begin with. We were a developing nation, but we did things differently, and I'm very proud of that, primarily because we harnessed and leveraged science for the good of our citizenry. And we stayed that course despite space race going on with the developed nations. And this was, of course, we need to tip our hats to visionaries like Vikram Sarabhai, and they are the ones who set the blueprint. And that's why we looked at applications technology to begin with, rather than manned space programs. In fact, when Russia offered India this flight, which I was lucky to be on, it was first offered to ISRO by Mrs. Gandhi. But ISRO said, listen, we are not interested. We lose the focus. We are trying to translate Vikram Sarabhai's vision. So no, thank you. And when they said that, she then offered it to the Air Force, and thankfully the Air Force accepted it, which is why I'm talking to you today. So that's how it went. You know, if you look at space and the way India has done, now that it has realized more or less the vision which Vikram Sarabhai has set out, the answers are right there in your question. What we should be measuring, whether man should go into space, that is a logical next step, because we've already realized the applications bit. Science has worked for our economy, whether you take teleeducation, whether you take telecommunication. Ours is a vast country, and you know, in a short while, we've been able to come up to a point where, say, our penetration of technology, space-based technology, is probably the highest. And the next logical step is, of course, manned space program, not because of anything, and I think because we should be on the high table, and we are today. There's a lot of respect from spacefaring nations for what we have already done in these years, 60-odd years. And so we've got that position, so we have the potential to influence policy, a global space policy. So I think our voice is going to be very, very important, given the fact that, as was mentioned recently, that we are leaving the cradle of humanity for the very first time. And so what we really need to do is first fix the problems which are there on planet Earth, specifically sustainability. Otherwise, we are going to carry on with the same paradigm, and we are going to ruin some other planet, you know, unless we know how to reprogram ourselves and live a more sustainable lifestyle.
Can we ask 2-3 of the students to ask a question?
Yeah.
So, would any of you children want to ask the hero of India a question?
Namaste, ma'am. Namaste, sir. I'm Dhiren of grade 12, and my question to you is: Did you ever feel like not coming back to Earth just because of the peace and silence there?
See, my short answer to that is, visiting space is fun, Working on space is not so much fun, but living on Earth is the best.
Thank you, sir.
That child there?
Sir, till yesterday, till today morning 6 o'clock, I just wanted to meet an astronaut, but I never knew that Dr. Rakesh Sharma is going to come here. But as soon as I saw the scrapbook, which was given to all of us, I was very surprised and excited to meet you.
Okay.
So I just wrote my question. So what are the mental abilities that you faced from the childhood to come to this level, sir?
I've already confessed that I had never imagined being an astronaut. It was an opportunity which I was lucky enough to be given. But having said that, I think your question I'll be able to better answer if you say that how do you realize your ambition? So I was always very, very keen on becoming a fighter pilot, and I just stayed with that. So it is good to dream, but it is also good to act on that dream so that till you realize it. So you need a bit of resilience, you know. There are many times during that journey where you will question yourself, but if you are passionate and for you to dream, you make sure that you select the vertical. Today we've got such a harrowing, choice in front of us. You must also know what is your definition of success. Do you want to just have the money, have a corner office, have the latest car? Is that your, idea of success? Then your trajectory is different. Then you just go the different way. But if your idea of success is to be able to work with the best of the best, rub shoulders with them, and you don't always have to be a leader. There is something called followers also. Without being a good follower, you cannot have a good team. Without having a good team, you cannot achieve anything collectively. And the days of individual excellence are over today, and it's all going to be teamwork from here on. Teamwork not only from your cultural background. Tomorrow when you're going to Mars and other places, you're going to have multicultural crews. You'll have to get used to them. So you have to leave your ego at the door as you're entering and work together.
Yes. Maybe one last question?
Ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah. So, what's the one lesson that you were really struck on with after your time as an astronaut?
Basically realizing what position you occupy in this universe. You know, the universe is so vast. I think Carl Sagan has said this very effectively. He's been an astrophysicist and a visionary. And if I have the time, I would love to share Carl Sagan's video clip, the pale blue dot. Yeah, I've got it here. I think that will answer your question. It tells us how to be responsible in the only home that we will ever have. And that keeps playing in my mind all the while when I look at anything on Earth or in space. And most of it comes down to sustainability. Can we have that film?
So we have the video ready. Can we play that for you?
Yeah, please.
That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors, so that in glory and triumph they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known.
Thank you.
Any last question? One.
Yes, ma'am. So my question is, which one of your experiences were more mentally demanding? The experience at war or as in cosmonaut?
Well, it wasn't during the war. It wasn't during the cosmonaut part of my career. It was during my test flying. Like I've already given you the background that flying a single-seat aircraft itself is very lonely, and doing tests which were never done before was unsettling because you don't know what to expect. And, you know, there's a funny kind of pressure that when you become, and please listen carefully to what I'm about to say. I have no doubt that the majority of you, most of you will be doing very, very well in your lives and occupying very high positions, and you're going to specialize and become super specialists in your chosen line of work. Remember that when you become a super specialist, like test pilots who are known in the aviation field, they're supposed to be top of the heap. What it does is that you put a pressure onto yourselves. You feel that, you know, I'm looked upon as somebody who's a super expert, so therefore I cannot fail, and I must not fail. And that brings in additional pressure onto you. Just remember one thing. As long as you followed the process correctly, as long as you've done the best that you cannot do better than your best. Nobody can do better than their best. So do your best, realize that that is your potential. You've taken care of all the what ifs. You're a professional. You've not taken any shortcuts. And that's it. And then go ahead and execute that with all confidence. So that is what I have learned. And I have learned that during my test flying career. Many a time, I was so scared of doing something which has never been done, and I knew it was a threat to my life. I knew I was flying an aeroplane which is 200 crores of the taxpayers' money, but I had signed up. I had chosen my test flying career. So there is no way I could now step back and say, sorry, this is something I won't do. I've been paid to do it. I chose that particular line, and therefore I must give it my best. And to give my best and become a professional, we talked about that during the course of our interaction. So please, that's all I have to say. That was the difficult part, and it was, one had to, like ISRO has stayed the course, one had to remind oneself very often, you asked for it, buddy, now better deliver.
So thank you so very much.
Yo, welcome back. Jai Hind.